Aside from Parliament, and minority in the House is protesting the sale of Merchant Bank Ghana Limited to Fortis. Well, they have described the transaction as a scam. They argue due diligence was not done before approval of the sale.
At a news conference on Thursday morning, it asked government to ensure the interest of the country is put first.
Why would you want to approve of a transaction that shortchanges the Ghanaian people? Is this what Bank of Ghana meant when in July they said they would protect all stakeholders in Merchant Bank Ghana? Why would you bypass First Rand Bank, a safe and experienced bank, and settle for Fortis that has no expertise in managing or running a bank? Where is Fortis' source of financing for this deal? The Ghanaian people have witnessed unprecedented corruption in the last 5 years. The creating, looting, and sharing have been more than enough. After Maybe and Johnson, and Woyomi, and Waterville, and Isophoton, and Sada, and Jida, and Suba, and WikiLeaks, and all the rest, please spare us Fortis.
Fortis, a wholly owned Ghanaian equity firm, reached an agreement with the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, and SIC Life to take over their majority stake in the bank, a deal that was approved by the Central Bank in October this year. But the group believes some aspects of the deal do not make business sense.
Fortis seeks to acquire 90% shares for 90 million Ghana cedis, leaving SNIT and SIC with 8% and 2% respectively. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most bizarre and fraudulent deal we have witnessed in Ghana ever since Alfred Agbesi Woyomi hoodwinked Betty Modi Drisu and swindled the Ghanaian taxpayer for 51 million Ghana cedis for no work done. This unknown entity, Fortis, was registered and incorporated in June 2013, soon after the First Rand Bank deal failed to go through. Their initial capital, as per the Registrar General, is 5 million Ghana cedis. They have no experience in banking as far as we are concerned, and by their capitalization do not even qualify for a non-bank financial institution license, according to the Bank of Ghana's own requirement. Even though no agreement has been signed between Fortis and the other shareholders, the Bank of Ghana has gone ahead to give approval for the sale. This is a scam, a fraud being perpetrated on the Ghanaian people. How can you give your daughter for marriage before the marriage rites are performed?
The equity firm has since November 1 taken possession of the bank after SNIT offloaded its majority stake.
There's been no let-up in the congestion at the terminal of trucks carrying cocoa meant for export 3 weeks after Joy News first aired the story. Instead, it's been a blame given between the cocoa marketing company, the license and buying companies, and the haulers as to who is responsible. In the meantime, the drivers are having to survive under terrible conditions around their cocoa-laden truck. Adelaide Arthur has more.
The failure of CMC to take delivery of the cocoa beans in time has forced the drivers to camp here at the produce buying company's parking lot at the Tema industrial area. Ideally, the cocoa beans should be offloaded in 3 days, but some of these drivers have been here for as long as 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, when Joy News came here, we received several complaints from haulers about the unsanitary conditions under which they live. The situation has not changed. We still found haulers who have been here for over 3 weeks and have no idea when their beans will be offloaded. Haulers are blaming the cocoa marketing company for lack of planning that has led to the situation.
They're telling us that they don't have enough space in the shed. So the main problem is, why is there no space in the sheds? Who is making the decision to empty the sheds? That is Cocoa Marketing Board's problem. So are we saying that there are not enough managers, there are not enough people who are at Cocoa Marketing Board to plan to receive the cocoa? Or we're saying that all the cocoa that is coming, this season just began in October. We're in November and we have a choke. So what is going on? So the idea is that I think there is a lack of planning, and I think there's just poor management at Cocoa Marketing Board.
Cocoa Board, in an earlier interview with Joy News, however, maintained the licensed buying companies are to blame for the hold-up, as they deliver more than they are required.
In order to be able to handle the capacity of the warehouse vis-a-vis the goods that are being churned in, we've given quotas to the license buying companies, and that their quotas are daily quotas, the day what you should bring. If you miss bringing the produce that day, it means you've lost the quota. So we expect that if they go according to the programs that have been put in place, we should be able to manage the stock.
But haulers insist management of Cocoa Board and CMC have consistently failed to improve the process of taking delivery of the beans and shipping them off.
At this point in time, this country should have had enough time to practice this over a number of years. I can imagine that we have enough sense in this country. People who have gone to school, learn procurement, all kinds of stuff. They should be able to learn to understand that when cocoa comes at a certain point, you should have empty sheds. When you get empty sheds, you offload what you bring into those sheds. You plan when to ship them abroad. And when the light season comes, you repeat the process. If every day we are charging them 200, 300 Ghana cedis for them keeping our truck, they're going to sit up. You know why? They'll find a space immediately. And maybe as drivers, or maybe as mates, or maybe as car owners, that's what we need to do.
The main challenges for the drivers are the insanitary conditions and theft of their beans.
And now a bit of pure 5,000 was what the Kojale. Mitusa want me and Fanal or the Rono. Toilet, baby, Museum toilet, a 1 year sada. Okwa, I want me foot row and sota, cabin to Mimpie. And some pine for it to Omudo Musu Mania Babiama and Packet. I know Biabo Abepakia, a tran cocoa. Kara, no to me, Dovan in Eddy, so on coffee, Dovan in a cocoa.
The haulers say there are more than 200 trucks parked in the lot yet to be emptied.
We turn our attention to health. Lung cancer, according to the World Health Organization, accounted for about 1.37 million deaths globally in 2008, and this still represents one of the leading causes of deaths. Yet scrap dealers at Agbogloshi here in Accra risk their lives daily scavenging and working with dangerous scrap metals. Ya Fusua Jimfi reports children as young as 15 are also exposed to these hazards.
15-year-old Felix Opon is a scrap dealer here at Agbogloshi, a suburb of Accra. Every day, Felix joins 3 other senior colleagues to scavenge for metal scraps to make ends meet. He dreamt of becoming an engineer, but the inability of his parents to pay his school fees forced him to drop out of school.
My parents know me that I am doing it. Every day I am calling them, so they know that I'll be all right.
Yeah, all right. How old are you?
Me, 15 years.
15 years?
Yeah.
Okay, you completed JSS?
Yeah?
Have you completed JSS?
No.
So, like, you schooled up to which point?
Yeah.
Like, you went to school?
Yeah, I went to school.
So, what class did you get before?
Class 6.
Class 6?
Yeah, before I came here.
Before you came here?
Yeah.
Why did you stop schooling?
Yeah, because of money, that is why.
For the past 2 years, Felix has been working at this yard at Agbogloshi 6 days a week for a paltry of 20 Ghana cedis daily. His daily routine includes retrieving aluminium and copper wires from metal scraps, a task his young muscles cannot contain. So he resorts to painkillers for energy to start all over again the next day.
I am buying body spins so I can feel go. If I buy, then I chop, then I drink the medicine.
What medicine do you take?
I am taking like Afrosacin or Amoxicillin. That's medicine that I'm taking.
So do you take the medicine every day?
No, I am not taking it every day. Some days I can feel here where I don't work. That is why. So if my body is paining me, then I will drink the medicine. That's why.
Other young men I met in the scrapyard who were within Felix's age group shared similar experiences.
Smoking. Or coming in, or feeling kura. Wet match, because I'm saying me DBBR, and smoking all year, sir. Sometimes we go to Quajina, and I buy out.
This work is very hard. Can be working sometimes. Something will fall about your head or your someplace and wound you. So you don't know how you will do unless you are treating yourself.
The fatigue aside, there are health risks associated with the scrap business. Scrap dealers like Felix and his colleagues are exposed to toxic chemicals from the cables they burn, as well as the copper and aluminium wires they work with. Although body pains are the only symptoms Felix and his friends can point to, the more complicated issues of respiratory infection will surely catch up with them in time if they continue in this business. Yafusia Jimfi, Joy News.
There is growing concerns among some banks that sometimes atrociously high interest rate being offered on deposit by non-bank institutions is running in the traditional players out in business or out of business. Their fears cannot be entirely dismissed, considering that some of these non-banks financial institutions have collapsed, having failed to sustain the high rates offered depositors. Carl Bank's Managing Director Frank Edu Jr., who's been speaking to Joy News Business about the phenomenon, says the regulator needs to act fast to save the sector.
Central Bank has already registered over 225 deposit-taking financial institutions, especially microfinance and savings and loans companies, who for some reason are able to offer rates on deposits that are more attractive than the traditional banks. This has meant that an increasing number of bank clientele are moving their deposits to these firms at the expense of the banks.
Deposit mobilization has become a systemic challenge for growing banks because we are competing with a different set of financial institutions, which are the non-banking financial institutions. Now, these savings and loans companies, etc., are able to go out there and offer all manner of rates for depositors. Very, very high rates, 5% a month, 6% a month. You're talking 60, 72 to 72%. You know, now there's no bank which can offer that. Okay, so once you have a situation like that, and even MDAs begin to place monies with them, then it becomes very difficult for the banks to raise deposits that is required for economic development.
He explains this is the reason most of the banks are having to resort to promotions.
The banks have to find ways of raising deposits, so we're all trying to do all kinds of things. Things, non-traditional things, etc. So, but the DNL is responsible for gaming, if you like, for raffles, etc. So you need their permission to run a raffle, and my understanding is that they want the banks to run the raffles in sequence. So I think they allow 5 banks at a time. But the point I was making was that if they didn't do that, you probably have 20 banks running a raffle at the same time. But that just goes to underline the fact that banks are having difficulty raising deposits.
The phenomenon, he says, needs to be tackled sooner than later.
Well, so we do a recap of our top stories for the morning. Minority in Parliament protest sale of Merchant Bank to Fortis and question how much due diligence was undertaken before the sale. And truckloads of cocoa from across the country meant for export still held up in Tema with haulers ensure when they can offload their cargoes. And that story you just watched, there's a concern among the normal commercial banks that the high rates of deposits being asked or being offered by the non-bank financial services was crowding them out of business. Yeah, so up next, it's sports to stay on. We'll be right back. Well, so we're now ready for some sports on the AM show, which is live on the Joy News channel of Multi TV. And there's a build-up to the 7th Joy Sports Invitational Tournament, and we'll bring you up close and personal with that company, Sapholder Company Limited.
You know, history tells us about the dream team. You understand what I'm saying? Currently, I'm recovering from my cruciate ligament injury. And I'll be taking the number 9 jersey. You understand? And we have prepared well enough. I mean, the lads have really prepared.
The other day we went there, we displayed marvelously, and we won everything. It's just by the timing. And this time around, we've put tactics in place. You see what the Black Stars did yesterday? are going to do more than that.
We are not going to disclose it here because it's exclusive to us. Yes, but we promise our team that we'll give them the best. And to know that logistics at its best also goes with the best that we do.
We have Stanley Abora. We have Rasta. We have Kid Mosho. We have Atlebo. We also have.
And for officials as well as staff members of UniCredit, they will put up the best show in the 7th Joy Sports Invitational Tournament.
All the other companies, Oma Bre, Oma Gas Kasa, Yadia Siaba, Yabeja, Yabeji Kruana de Ako Kanta, Yefri Kanta Mantu, Kanta Swan Yefri. So, I mean, you can sense the morale in camp. The guys are motivated, highly spirited, and we are coming for the trophies. This time around, we are not leaving any stone unturned.
But as a saying, what the track or banku. When we get there on Saturday, we'll show you what we have.
Thank you. You know, this time I've done so much that I don't want to participate at all. And I know they'll be happy that I'm going away. That's not true. I've given the baton to a younger man.
Only the fact that I'm going.
Well, now we have to look at some football, and now all the 32 teams are now known for Brazil 2014. But the draw, of course, is on the 6th of December 2014. Now, our own coach, that is coach of the Black Stars, Kwesi Appiah, has been speaking to Joy News on how best he wishes Ghana will be placed in a very good group.
For me, as to which team, we get in, it doesn't actually matter which team we go in the same group. Whatever group we fall in, I always believe that, we've got the capabilities and our players should be able to cope with it. If you thinking of not facing Brazil or Spain or something, then why are you going to the World Cup? You should be able to prepare yourself to face any team that comes your way.
So you don't mind facing Brazil in the opening group or in the opening stages of the competition?
I mean, once you go into the World Cup, you go into the World Cup with the intention of winning the World Cup. And how can you win the World Cup if you're afraid of Brazil or Spain or whatever?
And after all those World Cup qualifying fixtures and the international break, now all the leagues in Europe resume. And now we bring the fixtures for the English Premier League. Will be hosting Liverpool as Arsenal also hosts Southampton. Swansea City will travel to Fulham as Crystal City would also make that journey to play Hull City. Newcastle United will host Norwich City and Stoke City will be playing host to Sunderland. Chelsea, which has had some patchy moments in the month of November, will be travelling to play their London rivals West Ham. Manchester City would also play some title favourites this season, and this time they host Tottenham Hotspur. Cardiff City will host Manchester United, and Aston Villa will travel to the home of West Brom Albion. So that's it for sports for the AM show.